Hey everyone, Kevin here with an update for you on the latest, straight from Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell. You know, JPow, the guy who's printing money every single day, except today he's printing money with his second hand too, as we got some more money printing going on, and this is good news for what it means for our stimulus checks coming, because we're all waiting for that second round, right? All right, here's the scoop. I'm gonna give you a quick little synopsis about what just happened and what it means to us, because we really only care about what this means for us, but to understand what it means for us, I kind of have to go through a little bit of the background first. So here it is, as fast and as simply as possible, because it's the Fed, okay? Like, all right, we'll have some coffee and a cracker and, okay, go ahead, Kevin. All right, great. So 2 weeks ago, I told you about this program called Main Street Lending that the Fed announced. They basically said, hey, you know what? Instead of all yo companies who need money going to the greedy people that need to, sell you bonds, basically bond people are like the credit card dealers of the corporate world. They charge a lot of money in interest, okay? Like Carnival Cruise Lines, they just had to pay like 11% in interest for debt. That's a lot. And when you think of borrowing money on a house, it's like 3 to 4%. Well, leave it to the Fed to come in and say, hey, all you struggling businesses on Main Street, how about we offer you loans at 3.5%? Plus or minus. We'll just have it fluctuate around that number a little bit. And that's been good. That's been very well received. In fact, it's been so well received that people demanded the Fed kind of listen to some people's comments. In fact, a lot of people's comments. In fact, thousands of people's comments. And the Fed opened up sort of like a YouTube's comments section for your comments and companies' comments. And they read through all the comments and they said, you know what? We need to print more money for these people. That is, companies demanded more money and looser requirements. So the Fed basically made a change today and said, all right. Last time we said you'd qualify for these awesome Golden Boy loans if you had less than like $2.5 billion in revenue and you had less than 10,000 employees. Well, today, we're just gonna almost double these numbers. We'll say, as long as you have less than $5 billion in annual revenue and you have less than 15,000 employees, we'll give you some of these Golden Boy loans. And so this is cool. The Fed's basically saying, hey, we're willing to print more money and we're willing to give more money to companies. But in order to understand what this means for us, we kind of have to put our thinking hat on a little bit and do some real reading between the lines here. See, when the Federal Reserve lends money to companies that might otherwise go bankrupt, what happens? Well, the companies stay in business, they get to rehire their employees, and where do they not become a burden? They don't become a burden in the cities they're in. If you have a restaurant that goes BK in your city, what happens? Your city loses tax revenues, there are less people that are employed, the state has to pay more money for unemployment insurance, the city loses, like I mentioned, tax revenues. It's just bad all around. All of this, by the way, is on the heels of what the Federal Reserve announced Monday, when on Monday, the Federal Reserve said, by the way, we're also increasing our bailouts for cities and counties, and many more cities and counties now qualify, which is really good as well. And see, originally the Main Street Lending Program cut out companies like AMC Theaters and Cinemark, which are really big employers around the country. Those are big, probably all of us watching this have at least one of those movie theaters relatively close to us. And guess what? They were cut out of the prior program. Yet now with the new program, Jerome Powell says, you know what? Come on, come one, come all. We want to give y'all some more cheap money over here. You don't have to go buy that expensive credit card kind of high interest rate stuff. We'll give you some cheap money. In fact, you know what? Let's say you make $100 million of revenue. You know what? Let's just make these numbers really, really simple and relatable. Let's say you make $1,000 on your side hustle every week. Well, we'll let you borrow up to $6,000 every weekend. That is, we'll let you borrow up to 6 times how much money you've got coming in every weekend at just 3.5%. And you know what? You can take 4 years to pay it back. So in other words, take your time, have some cheap interest rates, and you know what? No worries. You could have 6 times as much as you're making. Just don't go bankrupt, please. Please, don't go bankrupt. My arm's getting a little tired with printing money here. So, what's the bottom line of this to us? Well, remember, think, what are the Congress people debating about? The Republicans and the Democrats, they're all debating and arguing about funding for state and local governments and hospitals. Well, what is technically now more available if less companies are at risk of going bankrupt? Well, possibly less risk to state and local governments, which means, hello, we still need help over here, so focus on us a little bit more, okay? So this is, in other words, a good thing, okay? Long story short, the bottom line is, when the Federal Reserve prints more money for businesses, it keeps more businesses working and more businesses hiring people. This means there's less pressure for people in Congress to focus on cities and states and businesses, and it leaves more possible attention for us little, birdies in sort of the bird basket asking for help. This is good. That might not be the best analogy, but I mean, think about it, okay? Like if you're in a bird nest and your big brother is twice your size because he's the Cheesecake Factory and you're like, I want some food too, it's kind of hard to also get some stimulus, okay? So put these two things together. More bailouts for more businesses, more bailouts for more cities and counties, means there might be less need for Congress to help all those businesses, cities, and counties, and more focus on us. So that way we can pay our bills, pay off our debts, and buy some sweet, sweet stocks with whatever is left. And I'm gonna give you some quick recommendations on stocks. But I do wanna remind you that the coupon code does expire today for my awesome programs, link below. So make sure to check those out right next to the links for 2 free stocks with Webull when you deposit $100. Really cool stock trading platform. And of course, get your quote for life insurance and sign up within just 5 minutes on your phone. Links for all of these down below. Now, quick note on some moves you want to make here. When Jerome Powell, JPow, prints money, it tends to have the effect of propping up stock values. Well, there are a few stocks that have been really hit hard here. Now, have you heard about Hertz almost filing for bankruptcy? Oh wait, they're too big. They don't even qualify for this Main Street lending program, so never mind, maybe they're gonna be stuck with bankruptcy. But you have heard of probably AMC getting ready to potentially file for bankruptcy, or problems at Cinemark, or issues with debt at Dave & Buster's, or Cheesecake Factory not paying their rent, or Red Robin. There's a really good one for you. All these companies have been slaughtered in terms of their stock values. And if you take a look at kind of what's been happening at those companies, realize these companies are now eligible, most of these, I believe, except for some fine print maybe, but these companies should be eligible for this Main Street lending. So if you're looking to make a few moves into the stock market, these could be some interesting companies to keep an eye on. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of Cheesecake or AMC. I'm more of a fan of Cinemark, Red Robin, and Dave & Buster's, though I do think that Cheesecake and AMC would be close to follow. They might be fun to play with or speculate with. So there you go, folks. There's what JPow did for the day and what you need to know about it. Now I'm gonna go refill some coffee because clearly I need more coffee.